music industry is mourning the loss of R&B singer and 7-time Grammy winner Luther Vandross.
Are you in a good place now in your life?
Depends on when you ask me whether or not it's a good place.
Are you happy?
It depends. It also depends on when you ask, not particularly.
Did he struggle with the idea of coming out publicly? Was that something that you talked about at all?
But he wasn't going to come out and say this to the world. And he had a lot of lady fans.
So it turns out that a lot of how Luther Vandross turned out might be due to one circumstance. Apparently this was what made the singer's life take a turn that no one saw coming. A moment that would leave the legendary singer forever changed.
My friend Luther was gay.
Luther had climbed his way to the top, winning hearts across the globe. But behind the fame and the music, it would appear a shocking event left him shaken, allegedly affecting not only his career but his very soul.
3 weeks before the show was due to be taped, I called up Dion. I said, you know what? I can't do Soul Train, the second one. I can't do this. I can't do it.
Was it an unseen betrayal? A life-altering tragedy kept out of the public eye? Or perhaps a secret he took with him to the end? What really happened that day? And why did he never seem the same again? Let's get into it. Word on the street is that Luther Vandross may have taken a huge secret to the grave. Rumor has it there's a lot more behind his passing than people realize, and whispers are getting louder that it might have all been tied to a dark, hidden truth.
My friend Luther was gay.
You know Clive Davis, who's built some of the biggest careers but is no stranger to those dark industry whispers. His tight grip on Whitney's career definitely raised some eyebrows, and insiders say he wasn't always looking out for his artist's best interests. And if you think Whitney was the only one feeling that pressure, think again. Rumor has it other stars felt the burn too. Then there's Luther Vandross. Behind those smooth, soulful ballads was a man facing his own battles, health issues, industry pressure, and non-stop rumors about his private life. Apparently, even Barry White thought Clive's influence was more harm than help for Luther. Barry and Luther were both music legends, no doubt, but Barry had heard some whispers about Clive Davis that he thought Luther needed to know. Word was that Clive had a secret. He was supposedly very interested in men. Barry, always looking out for his friend, felt Luther should be aware of what he might be stepping into by working with Clive. So he pulled Luther aside and tried to give him the heads up about Clive's hidden interests. Barry's warning was meant to keep Luther safe. But what happened next? Now that's where it gets juicy.
Man becomes disenchanted with just making a living. When he turns to greed, him every time.
Luther's singing style was all about simplicity and grace, with smooth vocals and impeccable timing. But sadly, his image got slapped with some labels he wasn't too thrilled about, like being called the master of bedroom music and pigeonholed as a ladies-only act. On top of that, he had to deal with a heap of personal and health issues, and so his life was way too difficult. Luther battled with binge eating, and his weight went up and down like a roller coaster, ranging from 190 to 340 pounds on his tall frame of 6'3". The constant pressures of his career and the ups and downs of his personal and romantic life didn't make things any easier for him.
Eating, he loved food.
He wouldn't eat to fill that void.
Despite never tying the knot, Luther faced persistent rumors about his S, with speculation swirling about whether he was gay. He never confirmed or denied these rumors, but they definitely put a dent in his image as a ladies' man.
Conspiracies still exist about Luther even years after his death.
Patti LaBelle caused a stir online when she revealed a long-held secret about R&B icon Luther Vandross during a live television interview. In an appearance on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, LaBelle confirmed rumors that had circulated for years. Vandross was gay. Additionally, she shared that her close friend and fellow musician grappled with the decision to come out publicly throughout his life. He did not want his mother to be upset, although she might have known he wasn't going to come out and say this to the world, she revealed. And he had a lot of lady fans. He told me that he just didn't want to upset the world, she added. It was hard for him. It's undoubtedly a daunting thought to consider the internal struggle Luther Vandross must have faced contemplating the prospect of being an openly gay black man during the peak of his music career in the 1980s. As a celebrated S symbol in the R&B world, deeply intertwined with the African American church and broader black culture, his revelation would have undoubtedly reverberated through the community.
Luther Vandross's lifestyle has been the subject of rumor and gossip.
During that era, male musicians often carried the weight of being a fantasy for female fans. For Luther Vandross, whose velvety voice captivated audiences, being gay was perceived as detrimental to his marketability. The real tragedy lies not in Patti LaBelle outing Vandross without his consent, but in the societal pressure that forced him to conceal his true self.
He told me that he just didn't want to upset the world.
In truth, Vandross seemed indifferent to the speculation surrounding his S. He neither confirmed nor denied it. His silence speaks volumes about the constraints placed upon him by societal expectations and the music industry at the time. In a 2001 interview with Vibe, Vandross jokingly responded to the years-long chatter about his S. "What do you want to know?" he asked. "Am I bi-coastal? Yeah, I have houses in Beverly Hills and New York. I know that I'm paying a price for being so private, and I do wonder if it's worth it," he added. Who would have wanted to come out in such a nasty climate? Nothing about being out at that time seemed safe or worthwhile. Like any black gay man, closeted or not, Vandross only desired what anyone wanted out of life: love and happiness. In the same Vibe interview, Vandross admitted that he had never been in love. "I'm still waiting," he said. "The time that I've spent being in love has never been reciprocated. Those are just the circumstances." At the tender age of 16, he encountered his initial taste of unrequited affection. The reply was a simple "thank you, but I'm not interested," he reminisced. "It stung deeply, leaving me feeling isolated and disconnected. I yearn for the simple joys of domestic life," he confessed. "I long for someone who isn't bound by employment to genuinely care about my whereabouts." Maybe that is why he never married in his life. Renowned for soulful classics such as "Dance with My Father" and "Never Too Much," Luther Vandross captivated audiences worldwide with his captivating voice and musical genius. Despite his immense popularity, questions often linger regarding Vandross's place of birth and personal life. Vandross never married and did not have children during his lifetime. According to his close friend and colleague Bruce Vilanch, Vandross shared a significant relationship with a man during the late 1980s and early 1990s, although the identity of his partner remains undisclosed. Patti LaBelle also affirmed this aspect of Vandross's life in December 2017, shedding light on this aspect of his personal journey. Ironically, a man celebrated for serenading audiences worldwide with love songs, crafting a timeless soundtrack for generations, found himself unfamiliar with the very love he sang about. It remains uncertain whether Vandross ever did encounter that fairy tale love before his passing. Nevertheless, it's saddening that he grappled with the challenge of openly embracing his true self.
You're in a good place now in your life?
Depends on when you ask me whether or not it's a good place.
Are you happy?
It depended.
On top of everything, Luther dealt with health issues like diabetes, the same disease that claimed his father's life. In '86, he was involved in a car crash where tragically one of his close friends lost their life. Luther faced a charge of vehicular manslaughter, but it was later reduced to reckless driving, mainly due to speeding. In the 90s, Luther's career was on fire. He teamed up with Mariah Carey for a Caher duet on Endless Love in '94, hitting the top 40. Plus, he dropped his own version of Always and Forever, which shot straight to #1 on the R&B charts, becoming a signature track for him. He also made some appearances on the big and small screens, like a cameo in The Meteor Man in '93 and popping up on shows like Beverly Hills, 90,210 Inches, and Touched by an Angel. There's even a documentary about him, Luther Vandross, Always and Forever, from '94. Even with his own success, Luther kept on writing and producing for other big names like Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick, and Aretha Franklin. Then came that life-changing stroke in April 2003 when he experienced a severe stroke at his residence. This catastrophic event plunged him into a coma that persisted for nearly 2 months, severely affecting his vocal and speech capabilities and necessitating the use of a wheelchair. Despite the immense challenges, Vandross eventually made strides in his recovery, gradually regaining his mobility.
He would stay in, and he would create, and he would dream. That's all he wanted to do, was to please his audience.
But it was only due to his mother's unwavering efforts. In 2003, amidst the release of his most intimate album yet, Luther Vandross exhibited signs of recovery following a debilitating stroke. As shared by his mother, Mary Vandross, Mary expressed optimism as she noticed her son attempting to articulate words and becoming more responsive. She recounted a poignant moment when Luther turned his head toward her voice as she called out to him, indicating a growing awareness of his surroundings. Reflecting on the harrowing day of the stroke, Mary revealed that Luther had called out for her when he was discovered by his housekeeper in his Manhattan apartment on April 16th. As the housekeeper rushed to seek assistance, Luther's urgent plea resonated through the apartment. "Get my mama. Call my mama." This poignant moment underscored the deep bond between Luther and his mother during his time of need. The Vandross narrative is a testament to unyielding faith and the profound connection between a mother and her son. Yet, it also serves as a narrative of shared sorrow and tragedy. Luther Vandross was Mary's youngest and sole surviving child. The family endured multiple losses due to health complications. Luther's father, Luther Sr., passed away from complications related to diabetes when Luther was just 7 years old. Tragically, Luther also lost both his brother Charles and his sister Patricia to complications stemming from diabetes. Additionally, his other sister Anne succumbed to complications arising from asthma. When you start losing your children, you look at your situation and you say, "What have I done in my life to deserve this?" Mary told the Post. "But I know my grace is sufficient. He's going to come through by the grace of God." 3 days each week, Mary made the journey from her home in Philadelphia to her son's bedside in the intensive care unit at the Weill Medical College of Cornell University on the Upper East Side. In that hospital room, adorned with balloons, banners, cards, and compact discs, flowers excluded due to medical considerations, she tenderly held her son's hand and whispered softly to him. Mary played music from iconic artists like Aretha Franklin and Dionne Warwick, as well as Luther's own soulful melodies, creating a comforting and familiar atmosphere for him amidst the clinical setting. That is why Luther's spirit couldn't be stopped. His album, Dance with My Father, recorded before he got sick, dropped and blew up, earning him 4 Grammys, including Song of the Year. It also snagged him his first #1 album on the pop charts and 4 NAACP Image Awards. Even though he couldn't be there in person, his talent still shone bright. At the age of 54, Luther Vandross, the beloved musician, passed away from a heart attack on July 1, 2005 at JFK Medical Center in Edison, New Jersey. He left behind his mother, Mary Ida Vandross, who played a significant role in promoting her son's final work, which went on to win Grammy Awards despite Luther's severe health challenges.
You can see from this medical investigator's report that Luther Vandross died from acute cardiac arrhythmia, which tells me his heartbeat was catastrophically disrupted.
As reported by MTV, Luther Vandross received treatment at a New York hospital during a critical period. Regrettably, he was unable to attend the Grammy Awards that year, despite it being a pinnacle moment in his career. Vandross clinched 4 awards that night, including the prestigious Best R&B Album. However, his health prevented him from being present, and he graciously accepted these accolades through a video message as noted by AllMusic. The Grammy Awards official website commemorates this poignant moment, highlighting Vandross's resilience as he conveyed a message of love and strength despite his ailing condition. He delivered his acceptance speech on the video. "Remember, when I say goodbye, it's never for long," he said, breaking into a signature hit, "because I believe in the power of love." Luther Vandross was honored in a solemn ceremony held at Riverside Church in New York City, where friends, family, and prominent figures from the music industry gathered to pay their respects. Esteemed artists including Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, Stevie Wonder, Dionne Warwick, and Cissy Houston delivered heartfelt tributes and musical performances celebrating Vandross's life and legacy. Following the ceremony, Vandross was laid to rest at the George Washington Memorial Park in Paramus, New Jersey, marking his final resting place. The outpouring of love and admiration from those who attended the service reflected Vandross's profound impact on the music world and the lives of countless fans. Vandross's health struggles, compounded by hypertension and diabetes, were well documented by The Sun. The stroke he suffered severely impacted his speech and singing abilities, necessitating the use of a wheelchair. He made a final public appearance on Oprah Winfrey's show in May 2004 before his passing on July 1, 2005 at the age of 54. JFK Medical Center in New Jersey, as reported by Billboard, announced his peaceful passing, attributing it to complications from the stroke from which he had not fully recovered.
When a music legend dies relatively young, in many cases there's a history of substance abuse, culminating in chronic illness or sudden death.
The journey to fame was fraught with challenges for Vandross, as highlighted by AllMusic. His legal battle against Sony Music Entertainment, stemming from a prolonged personal service contract beyond legal limits, stands as a testament to the complexities he faced. Consequently, his abrupt halt in the midst of a significant comeback was a devastating blow for his devoted fan base. One of his fans wrote, "Who cares what his S was? We freaking love him. I think addiction to certain foods may be the hardest to battle him, ho. What a beautiful man. What a beautiful talent. R.I.P. Mr. Vandross." Another one added, "We were robbed. What a man. What a voice. What talent. Thank you for the great music that you left us with." But that's not. If Luther was a soft person, he also had a fair share of cruelty in him too, at least according to reports. Don Robinson, one of the original members of the incredibly successful R&B group En Vogue, recently spilled some juicy details about the drama behind the scenes of their 1993 tour with R&B icon Luther Vandross. For anyone who grew up listening to 80s and 90s R&B, this interview is a treasure trove of insider gossip. But beyond the gossip, it sheds light on the harsh realities of the music industry economics during that era.
Don Robinson of the group En Vogue is spilling some tea about the group's time on tour with Luther Vandross in the early 90s.
When the Funky Divas abruptly departed Luther Vandross's national tour in 1993, the official explanation cited was the impending pregnancy of Cindy Herron, a member of the group. However, in a revealing interview with Entertainment Weekly that same year, Herron hinted at deeper issues, stating, "We've been having a lot of problems with Luther. Our nickname for him is Lucifer." The article further detailed the strained relationship, mentioning instances where Vandross stopped communicating with them, insisted on separate meals for each camp, and even went as far as ordering drapes to avoid seeing the group backstage. According to the 2004 biography, Luther, The Life and Longing of Luther Vandross by Craig Seymour, tensions reached a breaking point during a tour stop in Miami. Vandross, angered by a member of En Vogue crossing over to his designated area backstage, called the Miami police, demanding charges of trespassing be pressed against the group.
Don spoke with Discussions and told about the time Luther called the police on them because they walked past his dressing room.
Due to their desperate financial situation, En Vogue found themselves agreeing to a shockingly unfair contract orchestrated by Luther Vandross's management. The contract was riddled with clauses designed to ensure that En Vogue would never overshadow Luther as the headlining act. Bizarre restrictions included bans on wearing certain colors like red, white, blue, or black, and their costumes couldn't have any sequins or sparkle. The logistical setup of Luther's tour also put En Vogue at a disadvantage, with a revolving stage that didn't accommodate their band, leaving them performing with their backs to half the audience. After enduring 2 months of escalating conflicts, there was a final showdown between Luther and En Vogue. Luther essentially shrugged off any responsibility, stating that it wasn't his fault their management agreed to such a lousy deal. Shortly thereafter, En Vogue made the decision to quit the tour. Moreover, he was also rumored to have bad terms with Anita Baker as well. Anita Baker wants to set the record straight when it comes to her business relationships and rumored feuds. She went to Twitter to address the alleged conflict she had with Babyface. Baker, who has been facing backlash since May for allegedly blocking Babyface from opening for her at the Songstress tour in Newark, New Jersey, replied to people who continue to blame her for how the situation unfolded at the concert. "Dear Sir, Live Nation took full responsibility," Baker said in response to one person's tweet. "I went on my stage at the appropriate time, did my job without benefit of full production." Baker also denounced the longtime rumors about her beef with R&B singer-songwriter Maxwell, as well as legendary artist Luther Vandross. "I have never been in concert with my friend Maxwell. I did my job, lifelong profession. Your public statements are false," Baker said in response to the person who accused of her slighting Vandross and Maxwell in the past. Responding to her alleged feud with Vandross, a rumor which has been going on since the 1980s according to That Grape Juice, Baker said the pair have worked well together for a long time. "Dear ma'am, Mr. Vandross and I were one of the most successful R&B pop sold-out arena concert tours of its time," Baker wrote. "We created joy, jobs, and commerce for our community. As successful business partners often do, we had disagreements. We also had joy *balance abso. Dozens of fans were disappointed when they learned that Babyface, who was supposed to be the opening act for Baker's tour, wasn't going to perform after all. Babyface addressed the situation on Twitter a short time later, as Blavity previously reported. "I am truly sorry to my fans who have been waiting for us to hit the stage this evening at Pru Center," he tweeted. "I was asked not to perform in order to give Miss Baker her space and time to perform her show in its entirety. My band and I are extremely saddened we didn't get to perform for y'all tonight." Fans then unleashed their fury at Baker, blaming her for spoiling Babyface's performance. Babyface later spoke with TMZ to clarify that he wasn't trying to blame Baker. "I would never shade Anita Baker. I have too much love and respect for her, and I look forward to continuing the tour. I was just reiterating what the stagehand was saying following all of the tech difficulties," he told TMZ. That's when people speculated that she may have some bad terms with Luther as well, judging her behavior. Luther Vandross left us with unforgettable music, but the mystery surrounding his life lingers on. Despite his undeniable success and charm, there's a piece of his story that remains shrouded in shadow.